Hey guys, today we're going to talk about a summarizing strategy called SWBST. This is going to be a very quick and simple way for you to summarize any text for any class in any subject. So let's talk about our objective. Our objective today is to be able to summarize the main idea of a text using key details through using this strategy. And I'm going to move myself. Why is this important? Well, it's important that we know how to give a good summary of what we read because it shows that you comprehend and understand the information that's provided. Knowing how to summarize well can help you in all of your classes. It can help you anytime that you read, whether you're reading for school or outside of school. So just like knowing how to summarize and find a main idea is really important. So let's talk first of all, what is a summary? Okay, a summary is simply a brief statement or account of a text. It only includes key details and key points of a text, right? So it's only the keys of a text. That's what a summary is. So when should you summarize? Well, you should summarize anytime that you read or view a text. You should always be thinking about the main idea and the key details of what you are reading. And know that summarizing is not skimming, okay? Skimming is when you just very quickly read through a text. You're looking for key words throughout to try to make sense of something. Summarizing is a little bit more detailed. You're mostly going to write something down when you're summarizing. And summarizing really allows you to understand the passage as a whole. And so that's when really you should be summarizing anytime that you're reading. So let's talk about the steps. You're going to fill this in on your little pamphlet that I gave you for your guided notes. So what is SWBST stand for? Well, the S stands for somebody. Who's the main character, the speaker, the narrator, or the author of the text? What do they want? What is their motivation? What's the gist of the issue? What is it that they're trying to accomplish, achieve, or acquire? What's the purpose? Okay? But something is happening. There's always a problem, whether you're reading fiction or nonfiction. So what's standing in the way of their success? What's the conflict? So, how is the problem solved? Every problem that gets presented in a text has to have some type of solution. So that's your so. And then what? What is the resolution? What's the ending or outcome that eventually happens at the end of the text? And note that when you're giving a then, you actually need to stay inside of the story, meaning that however the text ends, whatever you're reading, however it ends, that is the end. You cannot say this is what's going to happen, or I think that this is what happens afterwards. That is not the then. The then has to be within the text itself. Let's look at this as an example, okay? So we're going to look at Cinderella. We should all know the story of Cinderella. So what does Cinderella want? Cinderella wants to go to the ball and she wants to meet the prince. But what happens? Her stepmother won't let her go. So her fairy godmother helps her. And in the end, she goes to the ball, marries the prince, and lives happily ever after. Now, there's more than one main character in the story of Cinderella, so let's look at it from another perspective. Let's look at it from the prince. What does the prince want? Well, the prince wants to find the girl who fits the glass slipper. But there's so many girls at the ball, he didn't know any of their names, so he has no idea who it was that could have been wearing that slipper. So he goes all over the kingdom looking for the person who fits the slipper, and in the end, despite all odds, he finds Cinderella and it fits and they get married. Let's try it with the wicked stepsisters, and let's see if you can identify the wanted, the but, the so, and the then. So, what do the wicked stepsisters want? They want to marry the prince themselves. But what happens? They know that Cinderella is a threat. So, they try to prevent her from going to the ball by ripping up her dress. And in the end, they don't fit the slipper, and Cinderella does. This works with nonfiction as well. So if you think about like the story of Anne Frank, in the story of Anne Frank, she wants to hide from the Nazis, but somebody turns her in. She ends up going to concentration camp and dying, and then her story gets shared with the world. Or if we look at from the perspective of life, like Stephen Hawking, he wants to be a mathematician, but his father wants him to be a chemist. He ends up combining science and math and studies black holes in the universe and ends up becoming one of the most respected physicists in the world. So you can see how these are very simple summaries, okay? You can even do this in a very simple template. Blank wanted to blank, but blank. So blank happened, and then blank happened. So it's just a very short little paragraph format that shows that you understand what you're talking about. So why should you summarize? Well, it activates your brain. It allows you to begin the process of breaking down a text. And if you aren't sure of the author's main point or the key plot, then your full understanding of the text is going to be skewed, and that means when you go to talk about it verbally or in a paper, you'll be wrong because you misunderstood, right? So here's a little joke for you, if I can get myself anywhere out of the way. The teacher says, I told you to summarize the book, not to summarize the book. So that's it. Hopefully you understand all of this. If you've got it, move on with your lesson. If you're lost, rewatch it, check in with a peer. If you are super lost, check in with me. Let's work together and get you what you need. See you later.